Hello friends, maritime accidents happen constantly, but few people have the chance to become eyewitnesses to such events. In today's video, I will introduce you to the scariest shipwrecks in the world, so let's get into it. On February 28, 2019, the cargo ship Sea Grant, under the command of a seemingly reckless captain, directed the Russian cargo ship Sea Grant towards the Gwanghwandego Bridge in the Korean city of Busan. The ship crashed into the bridge, bringing all traffic to a halt. Repairing the bridge incurred billions in costs. On August 15, 2012, Japanese patrol boats in Hong Kong intercepted a fishing boat carrying 14 Chinese activists on board, which had ventured into disputed waters. 2 Japanese Coast Guard patrol boats were dispatched to pursue the fishing boat, eventually managing to stop and detain it. MSC Opera. In 2019, the massive cruise ship MSC Opera lost control of its engines, resulting in a collision with a smaller vessel, the River Countess, in Venice, Italy. The ship struck the port dock, causing significant damage to the smaller boat as if it were made of paper or plastic. Vita Spirit. In 2018, the crew of a ship managed to capture on video as a 225-meter-long tanker approached a 18th-century coastal fort. The fort's value was estimated at $1 million. It is said that the Vita Spirit even dropped anchor to stop, but it wasn't enough. The tanker collided with this historical landmark, tearing off part of the roof and damaging the surrounding buildings. Talyanj ASG-25. In 2017, the ship Talyanj collided with a U.S. Coast Guard boat. As a result of the collision, the Coast Guard boat SG-25 capsized, while the Talyanj did not even stop and continued sailing. On February 24, 2020, the giant tanker Stellar Banner ran aground on a sandbar, tilting heavily to the right. The crew was evacuated, and the ship was freed from the sandbar so that salvage teams could retrieve the cargo, which consisted of 3,500 tons of fuel oil and 275,000 tons of iron ore. It turned out that the ship was irreparable, and it had to be scrapped. SCL Virginia and Ulysses. On October 7, 2019, the container ship SCL Virginia had a fateful collision with the ferry Ulysses, causing a massive hole in the tanker's side. Thick crude oil spilled and spread along the beaches near Corsica. The accident occurred because the officer on duty during the collision was distracted on the phone and didn't notice that the SCL Virginia had dropped anchor in an unusual location. The ferry had been on the radar of the ferries for over an hour before the collision, and the warning lights on the SCL Virginia were also activated. The giant yacht Carnival Glory was involved in a serious maritime accident in December 2019. The elegant yacht, worth $39 million, ran aground due to an engine malfunction and began taking on water after hitting the rear doors on the back deck. After 5 hours, the yacht sank. Fortunately, none of the crew members were injured, although they were all somewhat soaked. Carnival Glory and Carnival Legend. In December 2019, passengers on 2 cruise ships were shocked by the collision of the 2 vessels in the Mexican port of Cozumel. The Carnival Glory was attempting to dock when the Carnival Legend collided with its rear. No one knows the exact cause of the incident, but the official investigation blamed it on bad weather and strong winds. Excellent tourist ship. Excellent. In 2018, the crew of one ship managed to capture on video as a giant loading boom suddenly appeared on the side of their ship, ramming into it and crushing it like a soda can. This collision occurred because the cargo ship attempted to pass too close to the mixed-use ship Girolato, and its rear became entangled with the lifeboats of the passing vessel. No one was injured, but the damage was extensive, and those responsible had a lot to explain. Hansa Constitution. Sometimes accidents happen on board even before the ship sets sail. In April 2014, the 185-meter-long container ship Hansa Constitution veered off course and headed straight for the football field of the University of Hong Kong. A cloud of rust-colored dust began to rise from the anchor chains as the gigantic ship came to a stop right next to the field. The cause of the accident was attributed to engine failure and strong winds. In July 2013, the cargo ship Mole Comfort was loaded with 4,382 large containers and 7,401 smaller ones. The vessel was headed from Singapore to Saudi Arabia. However, it couldn't bear such weight, and the hull began to break in half. Cargo ships can find themselves in trouble even without breaking apart on the water's surface. The ship 1 Apius found itself in a severe storm in the Pacific Ocean. The entire cargo, consisting of 14,000-meter containers, slid off. Among them were 1,816 containers filled with batteries, fireworks, and 2 containers filled with liquid ethanol, all disappearing beneath the ocean's surface. The damage exceeded $200 million. Fortunately, none of the crew members were injured, and the ship safely returned to port. MV Rena. In October 2011, a cargo ship loaded with containers and crude oil ran aground on the Astrolabe Reef in New Zealand, causing the most serious maritime environmental disaster in New Zealand's history. The ship began to tilt and rock in the waves, and over 8,800 containers, some containing hazardous chemicals, fell into the sea. The captain and the second officer spent 7 months in jail for operating the vessel recklessly, endangering lives, and causing significant property damage. Florence Spirit and Alanis. What do you think? What were the captains of these 2 ships doing? It seems like they were playing some sort of game, but they both lost. In the video, you can see the heavy-tonnage ship Alanis, with a capacity of 12,700 tons, and the bulk cargo ship Florence Spirit, with a capacity of 14,000 tons, heading directly towards each other. Both ships collide amid a deafening screech. It's a wonder that neither ship sounded any horn signals, but luckily, no one was harmed, and both ships came to a stop. Cheers! Friends, one of the most horrifying maritime disasters occurred on February 3, 2006. A ship carrying over 1,300 passengers capsized in the waves of the Red Sea, claiming 1,101 lives. The ship was sailing from the port of Dubai in Saudi Arabia to the Egyptian port of Safaga. The majority of passengers were Egyptians working in Saudi Arabia, returning home after seeking employment and earnings. Putting accidents aside for a moment, we can marvel at the power and strength of these ships and be in silent awe of the amount of cargo they are capable of transporting across half the world. And that's it for today. Please like the video, and see you soon.